Elon Musk is always ready for a fight, even with a nation as powerful as Russia. But supplying his satellite internet service to Ukraine has opened up a whole new can of worms. Musk says his Starlink signals are being jammed, and if that continues, he may as well bomb Russia from where he knows best: space. Russia's space agency chief Dmitry Rogozin declared, offlining the satellites of any country is actually a casus belli, simply meaning a cause for war. So, could the clash between Musk's commercial enterprise and Moscow's military activities become a cause for escalation? We hope not. Amid the ongoing crisis, Musk mocked Russia as the country said it would stop providing rocket engines to the United States in retaliation to sanctions placed on it for invading Ukraine. The boss of the state space agency, Dmitry Rogozin, was ridiculed by Musk after suggesting that the US would have to go into orbit on their broomsticks. American broomsticks, taunted Musk on Twitter as he posted a video of SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launching another 47 Starlink satellites into orbit. The billionaire appears to have riled the Russian government after activating the SpaceX satellite internet system over Ukraine in response to a request from the embattled country's leadership. The entrepreneur has also publicly offered Ukraine advice on how to best stay connected to the internet during the Russian invasion. Mr. Rogozin told Russian state television, "In a situation like this, we can't supply the United States with our world's best rocket engines. Let them fly on something else, their broomsticks, I don't know what." He said that Russia had delivered 122 RD-180 engines to the US since the 1990s, of which 98 were used to power Atlas launch vehicles. In addition to taunting Russia, Musk also announced that SpaceX had updated its Starlink software to reduce peak power consumption. So right now, Starlink can be powered from a car cigarette lighter. And he also added that mobile roaming had been enabled, so a phased array antenna can maintain signal while on a moving vehicle. The SpaceX CEO has made a reputation for inserting himself into emergency situations and promising a solution, whether the parties involved requested his help or not. And this time, he has decided to side with Ukraine, and he is willing to take it all the way. A few weeks ago, Musk accepted a dire request from Ukraine's vice prime minister. The prime minister, who also doubles up as a minister of digital transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov, sent out a tweet to Elon Musk asking for his help in providing internet access in the country. The vice prime minister tweeted, "At Elon Musk, while you try to colonize Mars, Russia tries to occupy Ukraine. While your rockets successfully land from space, Russian rockets attack Ukrainian civil people. We ask you to provide Ukraine with Starlink stations and to address sane Russians to stand." Musk responded favorably to the request. He embraced the opportunity to help with both hands, as he could use some good PR after the last couple of years he has had. At the same time, he probably did not like being put on the spot, especially considering that Tesla, his electric vehicle maker, was starting to pick up steam in Russia, commanding 32% of EV sales. Plans to open a manufacturing plant in Russia may have been tabled because we don't think Putin, the Russian president, appreciates Musk helping Ukraine during this war. Russia has experience targeting satellite communications. As far back as 1996, they tracked down a Chechen leader via a satellite phone and killed him with a missile strike. Satellite phones became popular in militaries because the phones communicate directly with the satellite as opposed to cell phones that need land-based towers or base stations. The more isolated areas that army personnel or government leaders can hide out usually do not have cell service. Hence, satellite phones became one of the few options in those areas. It also helps that these satellite phones are more complex to track than cellular phones. Although trickier, satellite phones can be tracked with the right equipment and technical know-how. This is because they still send out signals in all directions like cell phones, and militaries are now experts at locating and intercepting them. But as controversial as he is, Musk also recently said that he would not block Russian news on Starlink unless at gunpoint. This came in as Musk said that the service has been told by some governments, not Ukraine, to block Russian news sources. "We will not do so unless at gunpoint. Sorry to be a free speech absolutist," he wrote in a tweet. Earlier, Musk had warned that his company's satellite broadband service could be the next target of Russian aggression in Ukraine. Important warning: Starlink is the only non-Russian communication system still working in some parts of Ukraine, so the probability of being targeted is high. Please use with caution, Musk tweeted. Last week, the billionaire announced that Starlink was active in Ukraine and that SpaceX was sending more stations after a Ukrainian government official tweeted asking Musk to provide the embattled country with Starlink stations. It was reported that Ukraine had received donated satellite internet terminals from Starlink, but an internet security researcher warned these could be targeted by the Russians. Vice Prime Minister Mikhailo Fedorov thanked Starlink for keeping their cities connected and emergency services, thus helping in saving lives. However, he added that the country needs generators to maintain Starlink's service due to Russian attacks on infrastructure. Starlink is Musk's effort to make high-speed internet available anywhere in the world using thousands of satellites sprinkled in orbit around Earth. Since Russia's attack on Ukraine began a few weeks ago, many in the country have experienced internet disruptions, particularly in cities such as Kharkiv, the epicenter of Russian violence against Ukrainian civilians. They fear that further outages could cut them off from the rest of the world. With Musk throwing his threats from left to right, Washington has urged Moscow to allow civilians to safely depart Ukrainian cities and towns besieged by Russian troops, saying that the forces now encircle multiple cities after having destroyed much of the critical infrastructure. Putin's military plan to quickly capture Ukraine, it is clear now, has failed. So he's now turning to a strategy of laying waste to population centers to try to break the will of the people of Ukraine, something he will not be able to do. America's State Department spokesperson Ned Price told reporters, Ukraine has told the UN nuclear watchdog it has lost all contact with the radioactive waste facilities at Chernobyl next to the defunct power plant, which is now held by Russian forces. Ukraine's embassy in Washington, D.C. is taking on an unexpected role as a recruitment center for Americans who want to join the fight against Russia's invasion. Meanwhile, Boris Johnson said he predicts Russia is preparing to use chemical weapons in Ukraine. The British PM made the statement against Vladimir Putin's cynical and barbaric government in an interview with Sky News. 2 million people have fled Kiev, around half the capital city's total population, according to its mayor Vitaly Klitschko. Russian troops have failed to capture the city since Putin launched the invasion on the 24th of February. Despite the mass exodus, Mr. Klitschko insisted that Kiev was still safe, saying it has been transformed into a fortress. Every street, every building, every checkpoint has been fortified. With the continued help of influential people like Musk, Ukraine, often seen as the underdog in the ongoing war, may as well emerge with the last laugh. But just why did Putin, a man once praised by Musk, decide to attack Ukraine? In a pre-dawn TV address on the 24th of February, President Putin declared Russia could not feel safe, develop, and exist because of what he claimed was a constant threat from modern Ukraine. Immediately, airports and military headquarters were attacked, then tanks and troops rolled in from Russia. Russia annexed Crimea and its ally Belarus. Big cities have been shelled, neighborhoods razed to the ground, and millions of Ukrainians have fled their homes. And yet, Russia bans the term war or even invasion, threatening journalists with jail if they do. For President Putin, this is a special military operation. Many of his justifications for war are false or irrational. He claims his goal is to protect people subjected to bullying and genocide and aims for the demilitarization and denazification of Ukraine. According to the Kremlin head, there has been no genocide in Ukraine. He says it is a vibrant democracy led by a president who is Jewish. It is already clear Vladimir Putin seeks to take control of Ukraine and overthrow its democratically elected government. But the rest of the world won't just sit and watch. They are ready to help Ukraine, led by the world's richest man, Elon Musk. Talking of help, have you seen the superweapon SpaceX recently launched on Russia? If not, click on this link to find out more. In our upcoming videos, we will be bringing you more of Musk's involvement in the Russian war, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of them.